it comes to a point in life where it's never this serious. This dude apparently spent $32,000 on VC on NBA 2K25. I just don't know what to say.
I spend more on in-game clothes though than I do in real life clothes.
You're looking at a $40,000 video game skin, and someone actually bought it.
How do we even get here?
Double Dragon 3, the Rosetta Stone.
Picture this. It's 1990. You're probably fresh out of school, so you decide to walk inside your local arcade, and you see this new game called Double Dragon 3, the Rosetta Stone. At the start of a stage, you see a door. Like anyone exploring a new game, you enter the door and see a shop menu. Then you hear the phrase,
"What would you like? You only need 1 coin."
as in real money. The side-scrolling beat-em-up game was produced by Technos Japan. When it was released in North America on May 31st, 1990, the game felt different than the past two titles, because instead of producing the game internally, they contracted with work of East Studios. Side note, before I bash it, this game's soundtrack is genuinely amazing. I listened to it while writing this section of the video, and Akira Inoue and Takaro Nozaki were in their bags. They have nothing to do with how much this game sucks. The game follows a tale of two brothers, Billy and Jimmy Lee. They are in search of 3 Rosetta Stones that have been scattered across the world. So they go along fighting enemies in the United States, China, Japan, Italy, and Egypt. They did this because an old lady told them it was the only way they were going to be able to challenge the world's strongest adversary. I know what you're thinking. I didn't click on this video to hear this chud wannabe YouTuber yap about a random arcade game. I want to learn about microtransactions. It's coming. Please be patient. Here you go, my sweet summer child. There were shops before stages in the game. It required you real money to select an alternate character with the same core movesets and slightly different stats and a different look. You could also use real money to heal, purchase attack power-ups, increase attack speed, and special moves. The game presented these choices as optional, when in reality it was very predatory. The game was made to be very punishing to simple mistakes, while including extremely difficult bosses that pretty much require you to be at full health. There was so much backlash on the microtransactions in the game that in the Japanese arcade version, they completely removed them by just adding a character select screen and allowing players to use all moves from the jump, and allowing them to find weapons across levels. In conclusion, this game was terribly received, even though it made a lot of money. Both of these are true because of the microtransactions. It is widely considered the game that killed the franchise. They have had releases since then, but they mostly fell flat. This game was ahead of its time. There were a few arcade games that had similar concepts, but they were also unsuccessful. Developers strayed away from the concept of microtransactions until the boom of free-to-play games in the 2000s. The game that caused the popularity of the online microtransaction model was the Korean MMO created by Nexon Studios, Quiz Quiz. It was created in 1999. If you have not heard of it, that is probably because it was discontinued shortly after its release in North America. While it was more successful in Asia, it still discontinued in Japan and Singapore. In 2004, the game transformed into a Korea-exclusive game called Qplay. You could purchase cosmetic items with an in-game currency that you could win by getting a high IQ score on minigames or purchasing them direct. I think this is an important game to talk about because it's the first game that allowed you to communicate with other players and have cosmetics that they can view, which allowed you to differentiate yourself. So this is the first time you would feel a sense of pressure if your cosmetics were worse than other players. Online MMOs with similar features would keep popping up throughout the 2000s. Some gained lots of mainstream popularity. The two most famous ones that were released were probably MapleStory and Second Life, both featuring their own in-game currencies respectively. This is a very short section because many of these online games function the same way when it came to microtransactions, that being you could earn the game's currency by playing the game, but it was much easier to get expensive items by just buying the currency and avoiding heavy time investment. That sounds familiar. Every time you look up on social media, what was the first microtransaction? Most videos will state, the first microtransaction was in Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, when Bethesda dropped a small pack for $2.50 on the Microsoft Store in 2006, including a cosmetic piece of golden horse armor. The reason I think this misconception spread was the fact that there was so much outrage in the community it became very popular, because they thought $2.50 was too much for an item that didn't even affect gameplay. People were so upset about the price that Bethesda offered to make the price lower before Microsoft blocked it. Bethesda, the same company that was responsible for Fallout 76's microtransactions, were going to lower the price from $2.50. Contrary to popular belief, it is not the first microtransaction, but it was very important in shaping the landscape of them today by becoming the first AAA game that players had already bought and paid for. This made the industry realize that they can sell anything for any price, and people will still buy it. And controversy did not matter because people bought it anyway. Todd Howard literally admitted this in an interview with IGN. He also admitted that he knew about issues in Fallout 76's release, but he released it anyway, according to the same philosophy of people will buy anything. In conclusion, this set a precedent for AAA games to include paid content despite controversy. And now, in 2026, really no one cares. Now that we have a good base on the origins of different microtransactions, I'd like to get into the crux of the video, talking about specific, funny, weird, or evil microtransaction systems and or purchases.
Fortnite Battle Pass, I just shit out my ass.
If you have played a live service game in the past decade, you've probably come across a Battle Pass. They are literally in every game because they are profitable. The earliest origins of the Battle Pass goes back to 2013 when Valve released the Compendium to go along with and provide 25% of the prize pool for the Dota 2 2013 International. It costed $2.50. You could unlock cosmetics by competing in in-game challenges, and it also allowed players to get rewards based on predicting results of the tournament. Valve later transformed this into an international Battle Pass, and it eventually got added to the monthly subscription in 2018. Valve added Battle Pass-esque features into other games as well, such as the Campaign Pass in TF2 in 2015, but these were all just meh. No one really cared, and it never blew up until Season 2 of Fortnite Battle Royale was released. Now this was the first true Battle Pass experience. You could actually grind and complete it, or you could purchase it completely. It looked like a good deal compared to the prices in the item shop, and the skins were amazing. And on top of that, it was profitable. So profitable to the point where, on the first day of Season 3 in February 2018, they made over $50 million in revenue from the Battle Pass. Free game, by the way. Fortnite had the perfect storm. People were sick of loot boxes at the time, and it was an easy, funny way to gain cosmetics, and with the game gaining more popularity and expanding across platforms, the Fortnite Battle Pass system was a smashing success. Donald Mustard and Tim Sweeney probably hit the strip club many times during Prime Fortnite because of your Battle Pass purchases. The problem with success is you will have bad copycats. Soon, every single shooter was releasing a Battle Pass, and most of them were ass. And Fortnite eventually became ass as they started to stray from the original design and just fully go into collab. The worst example were games that weren't free, that included a Battle Pass like COD or Battlefield. Another example of a terrible Battle Pass was Valorant. How shit the Battle Pass skins were compared to the shop skins. The problem is the shop skin bundles cost more than a lot of games, and now they all do in 2026. Enough ranting, time for the next topic.
No. Ain't no way you just did that. You broke my man's ankles like that? Nah, you cheat. You got hats on.
Everyone knows sports games. They have been ass for as long as I can remember because two of the greediest companies in gaming have a monopoly on them thanks to getting licensing from their respective leagues, and their dumbass player base keeps buying them for full price every year. These monopolies allow these games to get away with crazy greedy shit all the time, and I will just talk about a few examples. Starting off with the most recent controversy, and it surprisingly has a happy ending this time. With the release of College Football 27, EA invited a bunch of creators to play the game early and tell their audience about it. The problem was that they hid a part of the game to the creators. CFB brings most people in for their offline modes like Road to Glory and Dynasty. Sometimes these games can be sluggish, so players edit the settings like removing wear and tear or increasing the XP slider to have an easier time. But EA completely removed XP sliders and your ability to turn off wear and tear. But they conveniently added microtransactions to buy XP. And to clarify, you cannot use your character after 4 seasons, so your money goes into the void just so you can be competitive with the AI in the game. After this, creators were pissed. They were lied to and started the hashtag #PlayDon'tPay. For the record, I thought it was completely stupid at the time because you're still buying the game. But hey, it somehow worked, and EA released a corporate PR slop statement and rescinded microtransactions. With that being said, I think they're going to try that shit again in a year. I know I said I was going to talk about the greedy things these games do, but they are all just the same, whether it's exuberant prices for card packs or making your My Players playable. Bottom line is, they are very expensive and are wiped in 1 year. And you gotta pay full price and spend the same amount of money on those things next year, if not more.
Nein, I get angry when people quick open. I want to see the gold slide in. I want to through my mouth. Oh, gold already! What the fuck, guys? Ah! Boom! What? No!
The next topic I will be talking about is Valve and the way skins work on Steam as a whole. For this section, I will be using Counter-Strike skins as the example. Skins in Valve games are not just skins you toggle on and off in the menu. They belong to the player and are displayed in their inventory. They are able to be traded and sold for real money on or off Steam, and it is completely allowed. Gabe Newell literally hired economist and former finance manager of Greece, Yanis Varoufakis, to help develop the Steam economy. And in only 2 years, he created the community market to avoid black market trading. He also made some comments about the company, comparing Gaben to an enlightened despot like Frederick the Great. He also referred to the company as an island of socialism. This corporation he referred to as an island of socialism. That doesn't really make sense to me. Now it's time to talk about CS skins. I have a lot to say. My favorite thing about them is that they are totally unique. Every skin is slightly different because you can add stickers that are scrapable. You can't move the stickers. You can add charms. Some skins have random patterns that are created by going to random coordinates on an image. They can be stat tracked, which counts the number of kills you have per weapon. You can make a souvenir weapon by purchasing a sticker during a tournament, or you can just open a souvenir case. You can add a physical name tag to the weapon, and finally, each skins have a float number from 0.00 to 1.00 to determine how worn the skin is. Truly, I think skins are beautiful. My only problem with them is how you acquire them. You have to open up loot cases, which you will probably never make profit on in your whole life. And this is a form of gambling, and it is very addictive. I know you can buy skins from the market or trade up skins, but someone still has to be opening those cases to get the skins in the first place.
Own a pixel! Zestify!
Now, in this final section of the video, I'll be talking about funny and weird stories involving microtransactions. The first story involves a man who is the leading streamer in his game, but he spends more time opening cases and looking at the market than actually playing the game. We obviously know who I'm talking about, Mark Oni Pickle. Mr. Pickle made a blunder, we should say. In 2019, he sold his Macton Heat with 4 Katowice Hollow Reason esports stickers for $3,300, which was the normal price at the time. You know, it had some rare stickers from the second ever major. It was a good color combo, but that was pretty much it. But during the pandemic, the sticker went up to $20,000. Since then, and now, in 2026, the gun is worth $120,000. Some of that is probably thanks to the story that it has, so he probably made it more expensive, and the fact that in 2025, Reason pulled out of Counter-Strike as a whole, which probably made the sticker slightly more expensive.
This is fucked. This is not right. This is not cool.
This other story involved breaking the terms of service. Reading stuff before agreeing to it didn't actually happen a lot with this guy. It was kind of a theme. In 2018, the boom of Fortnite, Tfue had an account with many skins. He did this to get rare OG skins that he missed. He later went on to rant on stream after being unbanned and having all his skins taken of how He doesn't give a fuck. And not going to purchase skins ever again.
Skins and shit. Like, do you guys not get it, bro? Do you not get the memo? I do not give a fuck about any skins or any V-Bucks or any bullshit in this game. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not possible for me to care any less about skins in this game anymore.
Also, it was all pointless in the year 2026 because most of the skins are not even rare anymore, and he rarely streams, let alone on Fortnite. But when he does use skins, so I guess he folded, and he does care. Another story I'll be sharing isn't very funny. A former librarian named Adam Winger embezzled $89,000 from his public library and spent it on Game of War. He stole the money from a fucking library. That's the worst government institution you could steal money from. They literally only exist so people can get educated for free. I would have been rocking with it if he was stealing money from the police department, but no. He had to choose the library. For his crimes, he had to serve 30 days in jail, complete 100 hours of community service, and pay back $78,000. I'm not one for the justice system and punishment, but I kind of feel like he got off lightly for stealing from an institution that only exists to help people and spending it on Game of War of all games. Now, if you thought the previous story was crazy, it's nothing compared to our final story of the video. It happened 2 years before in Sacramento. A man named Kevin Lee Coe embezzled $5 million from his job at Caterpillar Machinery. He spent a whopping $1 million of that on gold in Game of War. Bro could have bought 100 factory new M9 Doppler Black Pearl. In my state, he could have established 6 affordable housing units. He could have bought 10 Lamborghini Galadoras. And more importantly, he could save it and coast off of it. He was originally sentenced to 20 years in prison, but in 2022, he was officially sentenced to only 10, which I think is crazy. I think he should get less time for stealing from a company than the guy who literally stole from a library. I get it's more money, but that's just me. I know it's fun to make fun of these people, but these games are made to get people addicted to these microtransactions. Game of War literally had a federal level class action lawsuit before it was dismissed by the courts. This is the end of the video. In conclusion, fuck corporations and be responsible with what you buy on the internet.